Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very special Prog Report interview. We have the very amazing Jonas Reingold here to talk about the new Karmakanic album. How you doing, man?
I'm doing absolutely fine. How about
Awesome.
yourself?
Yeah, we're doing great. And joining me is Prog Nick.
Hi
And
everyone, excited to be here. Hello.
when it comes to
Hey.
anything Karmakanic or Jonas related or John Mitchell related, Nick is the go-to guy for these things. Um, yeah, you know what? It's cool. I didn't realize that this album is 8 years or something since, is it 9 years maybe since the last one? I mean, that's amazing.
Uh, the last one was released, I think, July 2016, if I remember
That's wild.
correctly. Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, almost 9 years.
That was a great album too, Dot. I love that one. Man, that was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one. So Transmutation is the new album, comes out on March 7th. All the proggy car mechanic goodness. First of all, I want to ask you before we get started on the album, how's been touring with Steve Hackett? How's that been going for you?
It's been fantastic. It's not everyone that can say that musicians who can say that they have a job. So
Yeah.
I've been lucky to have this job now for 7 years, and it's been great. And I love the tours, and Steve as a boss is fantastic, and the material is not too shitty either. So it's a great spot to be.
7 years you've been with him? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think I
Time
saw
flies,
one of your
man.
first shows with him on the cruise, right? Wasn't that the beginning?
That was the first show
Yep.
actually on the cruise.
Yeah.
I remember that show well.
Yeah.
Uh, I, I got such a great feeling seeing you walk out on that stage with him, man. It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
I got fond memories. I think it was quite a good opener for me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. I mean, and you're just the perfect fit on there on stage and the whole thing. It's awesome. We want to talk about the new album. So this is the first album since 2016's Dot, as we discussed. I mean, I guess the simple answer to the question why so long is you've been kind of busy. I mean, is that it?
Yeah, I got the gig with Hackett. I think it was summer 2017, and then it was like 5 hours of Genesis material to learn. So I kept busy doing that the rest of that year, and then we started in January with rehearsals and everything. And basically, except from the COVID break, I've been full time busy with that. But I try to write songs and do stuff in between because we're not touring like 365 days a year, but pretty much 6 months, I would say. So I'm trying to record or write on tour as well. This album was actually recorded. All the drums with Craig was recorded in Nashville when we had like 3 days off
Oh,
when
wow.
we were there. I'm trying to just progress in the work, even though I'm doing that. But it's a bit like it's harder because I need to have like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks doing just one thing. I'm a single-minded guy. I have no feminine side of inside of me at all. I can just do one thing.
Right.
So
Okay, so Jonas, for those guys who don't necessarily know Karmakanic as well as Roy and I do, let's go back a little bit in time. You founded the band in 2002, one of my favorite bands of all time. And let me just say to everybody that's out there that Transmutation, folks, is a very special album. I've had the privilege of reviewing it for the Prog Report, so I've listened to it quite a few times now, and it is an absolute winner. So let me just congratulate you, Jonas. But going back to 2002, can you tell us how it all started? We know that there's a 70s prog connection to the name of the band. Do you want to explain that to us?
yeah, the reason I put it together was because, in the 90s, I was heavily involved with doing heavy metal, hard rock records for the Japanese market. We had like a factory in Malmö, Sweden, where I lived. There was one studio. We did like 20, 25 different albums, heavy metal. But I always liked the proggier stuff. So I always wrote stuff like leaning towards Prague, but it didn't fit the Japanese market because they wanted more straight ahead, heavy metal, full on. So I kept those songs on the side. And then after a while, I have a prog album here. Okay, maybe I should put something together. So that was actually the start of the whole, and then I recorded the album, and then I didn't have a name. And okay, all right. Uh, so I just went online and asked fans. There were old times when we had the Flower Kings Yahoo group,
Oh, wow.
long before Facebook and all that.
Right.
So I asked the group. We had a couple of hundred members there. So guys, just shoot some names. I have a new project, and I got 250 names, and I went through them and took out 10. And Karmakanic was one of the 10 different names. And some people, I like Karmakanic. Oh, yeah, that's from Selling England by the Pound album with Genesis. All right, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a Prog connection. Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah. So
yeah, fantastic.
I never caught that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's ask the obvious question about Transmutation. I mean, you've got over 20 performers, and not just any performers. These are the guys. These are the A-list performers in Prog on this album. So it's an astounding achievement, Jonas. Do you just want to tell us how you got all those guys to commit and how you ended up with all these performances?
Well, yeah, and then let's mention some of them too. I mean, there's just everybody that you can think of is on
boy.
this thing.
Should I read the list?
Let's see if Jonas remembers.
Anyone who's everyone from Craig all the way to Steve Hackett to Jonas. Maybe you want to talk us through it. 23 names, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of names. I guess all the money I get from Steve goes straight out to other musicians. No,
Right.
No, I owe a lot of people favors now, and that's how we kind of operate. And I'm lucky because I've been now in the prog world for over 25 years, 26 years since I started with the Flower Kings in 1999. So I get to know a lot of people along the way, and all those guys on the album, they are buddies of mine, we hang together when we meet at festivals, I go to shows when I see somebody is in the neighborhood playing, so it's just a natural thing. And if you have this big network around you and you write something, that would be perfect for Simon Phillips to play. John have to sing this. This guitar solo should be played. You
Right.
sit there with your kind of wish list, and I always try to all those people serve the music. I never do it because of a name. That's cool because it's nice in the marketing of things that you can say, yes, Simon Phillips plays on my album, but that is not the main thing why I do it. It's just because I think the music calls for it. So I see it like that. And if somebody fits the role to play a solo, whatever it might be, I ask the guy if I just get the idea of someone.
Yeah,
and
you have...
I feel Karmakanic as a musical collective. It's not like a band.
Right.
Yeah, I'm the hub for everything. I put it together. But we are just a big family trying to do the best music possible that we can.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the people here. I mean, you got Simon Phillips, Andy Tillison, Luke Mashin, John Mitchell, Randy McStine. We mentioned Steve Hackett, Craig Blundell.
Everyone from Hackett's band.
Yeah, Rob Townsend, Thomas Bowden is on here. Goran Edman, on and on and on. I mean, it's crazy. So anybody that likes any of these people, you want to check this thing out. No, it's really cool, man. We want to talk about the production. Talk about working with Chris Lord-Alge and how that came together.
Yeah, it's just amazing that I had the chance, because normally a pro guy like me cannot afford a guy like that, because he has major hits, a 5-time Grammy awarded, and he goes back early 80s with hits with Tina Turner, Bruce Springsteen, Muse, you name it, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, everybody. So of course my prog wallet doesn't fit that concept really. But luckily, he's a big fan of Genesis, and he, you know, always comes to all the shows when we play in shows in America or in Europe. Always shows up with his brother Tom. They are big fans, and yeah, just love the music. And one, you know, I get to know the guy over the years playing with Hackett, and I just said, "How about you mixing my album?" Yeah, of course I do. Send me the stuff. I know that I will love it. All right, and that's it. You know, it's not more difficult than that. But you
That's
know,
great.
it's many years behind that. You know, it
Right.
doesn't just anyone cannot walk up to Chris Lordell and say, "Hey, mix my album." You have to have some connections somehow,
Right.
like in everything in life.
That's great. You mentioned about how when you were writing, you say, "Hey, this guy could fit this and that this." Um, is that how it sort of happened with John Mitchell singing a lot of the lead parts? I mean, the minute you hear "End of the Road," and I love that song, my favorites on the record. It's like his voice fits so perfectly, and then also Randy McStine together when they sing on there is really
Yeah.
great. But John has really one of the best voices in rock, I think, and fits a lot of this stuff really well. How did you get upon him being the one to do a lot of the singing?
John is one of those guys that also been long in the business, and I've been running into him for over 20 years. And you know, getting drunk in the bar, bullshit back and forth. Hey man, we gotta do something together. You know, blah 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 blah. Blah. And you're doing that kind of talk, you know, and nothing happens 99% of the times.
Right.
Um, and we had those talks as well over the years. You know, yeah, I really love your voice, John. You know, you know, blah blah blah, and so on. But this time, because the door opened up a bit, because Göran, he's a little bit older now, and I had a long talk before we started this recording, and so where are you? I asked him, you know, no, you know, I'm retired, and you know, I have animals where I live, and blah blah blah. I cannot go out touring anymore, and blah blah blah. You know, so I might work with someone else, Göran, just so you know. Yeah, yeah, sure. Of course you have to do that, you know, because I cannot be available all the time. So it was just a natural result of that talk, I think, that I contacted John. And then I said, okay, John, we had our drunken talks. And now I have a serious proposal for you. You know, come over to Vienna and we record a few songs. You know, if it works, we continue and do the whole album. And that's what we did.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's nice to hear that you had your own on the album, though. He does make an appearance and a great one at that.
Yeah.
So that's doing the Karmakanic full circle. Wonderful. So let's talk about one of the other songs. Brace for Impact is not really your typical Karmakanic song. I mean, it's a bit of a contrast to what you would normally hear from Karmakanic, but I think it works beautifully in the album. Was that what you were going for?
Yes, because, you know, somehow you write in a certain way, you know, that's the DNA of your personality, the way you write. And of course, you can do the same album over and over again, and many people do, you know. AC/DC had a whole career, 50 years of doing the same album over and over again, and it works. But I just felt
and three
this
chords.
time that, of course, I could have started with Transmutation, like I always start with an epic, blah, blah, blah. But this time I really wanted to do something different. Just start with something that is not Karmakanic. So for those 2.5 minutes, that song is, you know, people, is this Karmakanic really? You know, starting to open the booklet. You know, did I get the right CD? You know, yeah. You know,
Right.
I think it's just a minor little shock for those who expect the normal Karmakanic stuff. Of course, from the second song and onwards, it's just normal Karmakanic stuff again. But it's just nice to shake up people a little bit, just tiny.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and boy, does it shake up. I mean, with that Simon Phillips fill, it really makes a statement right at the beginning. So let's talk drummers for a second here. I mean, we've got one of the world's greatest bass players, and it's only right that you should have the world's greatest drummers for your rhythm section. But man, what a list! I mean, Craig Blundell, of course, Nick DiVigilio, one of my favorite drummers, and of course Simon Phillips. Can you tell us how you came to decide who was going to play which track?
Yeah, it was. I thought the most straightforward songs I had was probably, I would say, the tracks that Simon played on, because he was 17 years in Toto. Of course, he can play in a technical way as well, and he does. He does some awesome fills in those songs, but you just get an idea who will fit this, and the long epic track Transmutation was written Nick DiVigilio all over it somehow, because he's most connected to that vintage prog rock style that song contains, So I think it was not so complicated to pick who should do what, actually, and I feel I don't regret the choices that I
No,
made.
they work amazingly. They work amazingly well.
Were you
Perfect.
with the different drummers? Were they all in the room with you at different points recording live, or sometimes they sent their stuff through,
I was in the room together with Nick and Craig, not with Simon Phillips, because he lives like north of Los Angeles. It was a little bit too far away for me to go there. I felt, and it's finances as well. All of a sudden you spend like 3,000 US traveling, hotels and
Sure.
blah blah. So it was more cost effective to do it like that. But we had contacts during the recordings, and okay, he sent me one of the takes. What do you think? Maybe you can change that a little bit. Could you please? Now my dream is to just get for the next one like all those great players in one big like mansion, and then just have a studio in the middle. Okay, Craig Blundell to the studio, like, and just have a big get together with everybody, and you just do it in the same time, everybody together. Like that. That would be a dream for me, but.
Yeah, it's gotta be better to be in the same room, right? I mean, it changes the feel for you and for them. I mean, when you can help it.
Yeah,
and when you're swapping files that way over the internet, does that change the way you play a song? Or maybe you've already done the bass line already and they do the drums to it. Does that maybe mean that sometimes you've got to change a few things and retrack?
Normally my demos are quite sophisticated and worked out. I would say I put normally my own vocals on. I play all the guitars and all the keyboards, and I have programmed drums and program bass. So the song is kind of written and arranged already. And I think that's the only way to do when you do it like that, when you cannot have this dialogue, instant dialogue between musicians. It's quite a straightforward. I think when Simon Phillips gets files from me, he can listen to my drum programming where all the hits and syncopations are, so he can understand the arrangement. And then, of course, he will put his own touch to it, because otherwise I wouldn't hire him in the first place.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's not rocket science, really. This is the arrangement, bang, it starts here, we have a break, boom, and all that. And of course, you just decorate the tree with your personality over that, I would say.
Yeah. Well, Jonas, the album, and I just want to tell everybody out here who's listening to this, this is one of the most beautifully melodic albums you will ever hear. The melodies are just outstanding. Beautiful, pretty, soulful, sad, mournful, uplifting, everything. It's got everything in terms of melody. And for me, even going back to the Flower Kings days, to me, this is your most melodic outlet. Do you see Karmakanic that way? Is this where you sit and write the melodies that are in your heart?
Yeah, I never think, okay, now I'm going to do a prog album. You know, I'm always starting like this. All right, where can we go? You know, I'm starting to write a song. Either I have like a title, like "All That Glitter Is Not Gold" was me going on the tube up from 52nd Street in Manhattan down to Soho, and as you know, and all that, I saw all those nice, fancy people going down to Wall Street in the morning, and then I just, oh, wow, they look great. Those suits are just 2,500 or more. Like you're checking out people like that. But once you scratch the surface, you will find some less appealing stuff.
Right. Sure.
So and then sometimes I have it like that, just a title in my head and maybe a line, but I always start to write the song first, the vocal content of the music, because that is, I think, without that, to me, well, of course you can do instrumental music that is fantastic. I love instrumental albums as well, but it's nice when you have a solid song in there, even though it's 25 minutes in there, that you have sections that are songs. I'm a big fan of songwriting. I love all the Dylan stuff, Joni Mitchell, all that, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, American Jackson Brown, those kind of songwriters is dear to me. And I tend to go towards that when I'm writing vocal music. But then I love the instrumental parts as well, because I'm a musician, and I need to have an outlet for that as well. So that's, I guess, my style.
Yeah, I think the best part is always for me is that when you can strip all the music part of it, and then you can just have a song played on an acoustic and it still is great. But then when you add the extra playing on top of it, that's when things get special. That's why,
and despite all the technical stuff, you're still humming the melody 3 days later.
For sure.
Yeah. Of course, I get impressed when people can play fast and in unison and wow, you're shredding all over the place. But after 30 seconds, you kind of, okay, I got it. Oh, now what? Give me something for my soul.
That's the genius of even like Genesis to me, is that there's songs. We're always songs in there.
Always songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to talk about Cruise to the Edge, which is coming up in just a couple of months, and Karmakanic is going to be on there, which is really cool. So tell us a little bit about what what you can, who's going to be playing with you, if you can, and I guess hopefully we'll be hearing some stuff from the new record.
Yeah, we will hear a few songs from the new album. Absolutely, two new songs I will offer, because we are limited. We only have 60 minutes,
right?
And I have like 6 other records.
But 60 minutes is 3 songs, right?
Yeah. So it's really tricky to make a set for 60 minutes. It's like you want to play the epics, because the epics are the most popular songs, okay? But if every album has an epic, you're looking at 3-hour show. So that is not possible. So I have to bring chunks of each epic into the set and try to merge it together so it fits the flow and everything. But we will play at least a few songs from the new album, absolutely. And the lineup will be, it's me, it's Craig, it's Randy McStine, it's Lalle Larsson on keyboards, and Casey McPherson will sing, because John couldn't do it. From the beginning, it was John on the bill, but he's working with Asia as well. So that we had a conflict there between the crews, and they are doing something here in Europe, and of course Asia will pay him better than I will, at least for now. So I don't blame him, and that's just the way the music business works. Somebody, if Ringo Starr calls me, yeah, putting this band together. Oh, Ringo, I'm on this cruise. I cannot go. All right, sorry, mate. Of course, if you get like, that's just how the business works.
So you
Well,
played with
people might miss
Casey.
John, but Casey's a great choice.
Casey's
I mean,
great and one of the
I'm just
best
trying to
singers
think of it.
around. You played with him with the Sea Within, right? Was that the
Yeah, that's
connection?
correct. Yeah, and I got to know him when he was on the cruise. It was probably 2016 or something, 17. I've been almost on every cruise, so they just melt together somehow. Uh, I played with his solo thing. I just played bass. That's how I got to know him. But then, of course, the Sea Within and all that. So
Yeah, he did.
yeah, he
He
was.
sang lead for the Sea Within when Daniel, I guess, couldn't do it or wasn't doing it. I
Yeah.
don't remember what happened, but
One of
Casey
those
was,
super groups. Super
yeah,
groups.
but Casey
We,
was phenomenal during those.
we broke up even before the record was out.
Yeah, I
That's too many egos involved. It was
yeah,
just falling apart. I could the first day of rehearsal. Like, oh my God. I will not mention any names, but the two people were discussing back and forth about musical choices, what
yeah.
to do. And oh my,
A lot
this
of
will
talent sometimes, it's tricky
yeah.
balancing all the talent. Um, I know it's always tough to do shows in the U.S. and with your schedule with Steve Hackett and everything. There's, I imagine there's probably no chance at any other shows, but have you thought about it?
Yes, and I think success will mean that you can have success playing live as well. So I'm taking like a little bit defensive role here and saying, okay, let's wait and see. If
Yeah,
this record is just goes bonkers and sells millions of copies, of course, I will do some touring.
right.
So I think I can answer that question more properly, like in a few months. But of course, I'm always looking into possibilities to play live because I love it. I want
Well,
to take it. And,
I think the cruise is an amazing outlet for a band like this, for the perfect audience that everybody will know the band and want to check
yeah,
it out. So it's going to be great. Really excited.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's hard, if you don't have this commercial success, like in the history books, like Karmakanic was never a million selling band. Uh, so if I collect all these big guys that plays phenomenal and are well known, and I tell the club owner, hey, we want this and this kind of money. What?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it's also hard for a band leader to offer just shit money, because I want to pay people what they actually are worth. If I have Nick DeVirgilio playing drums or Craig or Simon Phillips, of course I cannot come with like $50. Hey, can you play for
Right.
it doesn't work like that. So the reality is one thing,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
but the door is always open.
Great.
So six studio albums in call it 23 years, 22, 23
Yeah.
years. Eight years since the last one. No pressure, Jonas, no pressure. But this one is so great. I can tell everybody it's so great that I'm already looking forward to the next one because I
All
want
right.
this feeling again quite soon. So any idea when that might happen?
Yeah, now the machinery is oiled somehow, and I already started to think about, yeah, maybe I should start to write things again. And I have this iPhone that I record like ideas, like I sit there and so I already kind of recorded like two fragments of something. Who knows? But definitely, and reality is also that yeah, the Steve Hackett gig, as much as I love it, it will not continue forever because there is an age discrepancy between me and Steve. He's 20 years older, and you never know. You
Yeah.
never know. And you have to be ready as well, and that's how I feel. I'm composing now, because I have to have a plan B when this gig stops.
When you
That's,
watch when you watch Steve and you're on up there on stage, I mean, are you just like sometimes just in awe of like how is this guy still doing this and at such a level it's insane. The shows are always my favorite show on the cruise every time. They're just the best, like the music, the way he plays, everything. It's just so phenomenal. You can't believe he's still doing it.
no, I guess he's lucky. His mother is still alive. She's like 95 years old, so
Wow.
I guess he has good genes.
Yeah.
Uh, and no, he had a good life. He'd been doing this now for 50 years. Imagine that. Just playing his own music, original music for 50 years. That is a blessing, and that keeps you young, I think. And
Yeah.
if you don't have a drug or drinking problem, yeah, you might get old as well. So. And he's keeping healthy, living a soft, laid back life, but focusing everything on the music and the performance. So of course, I think it's a role model for everyone, and to see that on a daily basis is inspiring for me. Yeah.
Yeah, right on. Well, cool, man. Really excited to see you on the ship on with Steve Hackett, with Karmakanic, get to talk and hang out. And of course, everybody check out the new Karmakanic album, Transmutation, out on March 7th. Just killer stuff with all the names you know and love, with the kind of music you expect, and it's just great. Where can people get the record? What's the best place to go and order it?
You can order straight from me. I will pack the damn CD into an envelope and send it away. So I guarantee it's like 100% guaranteed that you will get it.
Right on. Right,
Yeah,
well,
but go to www.jonasreingold.se. There's a
right.
shop.
All right. Well, we'll
It'll
include
have.
the link and everywhere with this as well. All right, my man. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you
Album
soon.
of the year so far, folks. Album of the year so
All right.
far.
Thank you. Let's hold that position as long as we can.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right. See you on the cruise, guys.
Yeah, man. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for checking out the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all our socials and progreport.com, and we'll see you all again real soon. Thanks.